Cam, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, so your business relies on American and Canadian clients as they cross back or from Canada into the United States. So what type of impact are you seeing since these tensions between the two countries have started?
Well, ultimately, traffic has really dried up. I understand, Canadians have galvanized around this cause as we go through this economic tariff war right now. So there's not a lot of enthusiasm to be traveling to the United States right now unless you have to. That's kind of what we're seeing and hearing anecdotally from the people that cross the border.
Cam, so who would you normally, I'm just trying to make sure I understand who your clients, your customers would normally be. I guess Americans who are heading home. How many Canadians, as they're heading into the United States, stop in at the duty-free shop?
Yeah, my two crossings, generally we're about 75% Canadian traffic going down, usually recreational travelers, people going camping, people going golfing, whatever the situation may be. As the balance of that, the 25% is Americans. That 75% has dried right up. There's some coming through, but not nearly like it should be at this time of the year. We are seeing a bit of an increase in U.S. traffic, but it's just not enough to offset the drop in Canadian passenger vehicles right now.
So you lose 75% of your customers really because of a political movement. How do you navigate that?
I don't know. I really don't know. The government really needs to have our backs right now while we weather this storm. I mean, we're in a situation that's of no fault of our own. We're all good business people. I'm second generation in this. They're family businesses, all privately owned and operated. And, we feel like we are basically hostages in an economic war right now, and we don't have an opportunity to pivot. I can't sell anywhere else. I have to sell to people coming into my store, going right into the United States.
Talk to me about the fact that you're second generation. So this is a family business that has been in the family now 2 generations, maybe another generation if you can make it through. I know you were talking at the Border Mayors Alliance conference and sharing your story earlier today, and I think it was a little bit of emotional for you as you were talking about that.
Yeah, it was. That kind of caught me off guard, but it was when I was talking about my kids, and we've had to have that difficult conversation. We thought, at some point kids would maybe take it over and bring them into the fold. There's lots of duty-free stores on the border that are now operating as third generation. I mean, we're like a big family to a certain degree. I've grown up with a lot of these people. I started working for my family in 1993 full time, worked in the warehouse in high school and that kind of stuff. My parents got the license in the mid 80s. So we've been here a long time, and it was a wonderful business for years and years and years. And that has changed dramatically.
The situation is exhausting for so many businesses, and I can hear it in your voice. What do you talk to your kids about? What do you say to them?
Well, they can see dad's under a bit of stress for sure. There's a lot of sleepless nights. To get really down to the point, our association did a survey last week to see how many people would still be here in, maybe 3 to 6 months. And 25 to 30% of the people say if this is prolonged, they might have to close their doors. As a matter of fact, I had a day last week where I had a negative $67 day because one customer came in and they did a refund. How long can you last doing that? Not very long. So it's kind of grim.
Besides federal funding, what efforts do you need, or what do you want to see from the federal government?
Well, there is some situations where we could eliminate some red tape. There's some taxes that are applied to the Canadian stores that aren't applied to the U.S. duty-free stores that make it an unfair playing field. I don't really want to get into the specifics of that, but we really need to sit down with the minister and see if we can work on some of these things. It would be a revenue neutral situation. The government wouldn't be giving us any money in that situation, but it would just make us more competitive when we come out of this.
I have to say, it's hard to imagine crossing the border by land into the United States and not seeing those duty-free shops there. So what you're talking about here is going to resonate, or certainly a lot of Canadians will be thinking about that and you in the coming days. Cam Bissonnette, thank you so much, a duty-free shop owner from Soyuz, BC. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.